You closed the door on me because you think I'm not good enough. Guess what? Like all you guys, I'm going to bust down that door.
Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, Papa Pepper back once again. This is going to vary a little bit from my normal videos, but I just stumbled across something last night. A couple of the gears in my head got turning, and I think there's something going on with this whole Biden campaign, the likes of which most people are completely unaware of. What I think he's actually trying to do in his speeches and everything he's doing is kind of clone something that we've seen before, to have an appeal to familiarity, to have an appeal to the Republicans that he's not going to just have by being a Democrat and acting like the rest of the Democrats. And I think that there's a connection that most people are overlooking. So I want to share this with you today. Yes, that's right. I think that there is a Biden-Bush connection. And I think that Mr. Harlan McCraney is the connector guy. Now, this is all speculation at this point, but I want to get this out there because the idea came to me as I was laying up in this hotel room late last night, trying to figure out some stuff. My workmate was listening to something, all of a sudden it all clicked and all started coming together, so I began to do some research. So first of all, if you're not familiar with Mr. Harlan McCraney, he was a presidential speechlist, or at least claimed to be, for the George W. Bush administration. The things that Bush said are often attributed just to George Bush himself, but a lot of times there's somebody behind the scenes, and Mr. Harlan McCraney would be the guy in this situation, at least according to his own testimony. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about what he does and how he does it, and I'll roll a couple clips and insert some thoughts in between there and see what you guys think.
You have to understand one thing about the American people. They are not interested in a politician that speaks smoothly, or who insists on using real words, or who can actually talk.
In my State of the Union, or my speech to the nation, whatever you want to call it.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
So guys, in those clips, I mean, can you see the similarities? We're talking about things like the State of the Union, things that pertain to the United States government, this country and how it works, and these guys are political leaders at this point, a president and, you know, somebody who is campaigning to be president, and yet they act completely aloof, completely naive about what these things really are, like a lot of Americans.
Families is where our nation finds hope, where wings take dream.
That's a stupid way to say it.
We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over fact.
If you don't stand for anything, you don't stand for anything. If you don't stand for something, you don't stand for anything.
And sometimes, this is something Bush used to do too, it's like they try to hide the truth in plain sight. Like they're going to say some very important things, but they kind of just string it along, and you don't really know if you should take them seriously or not.
Matters. We're going to overcome this. Listen to what the scientists say, not the politician. I'm a politician, I know.
Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we.
Let's hear some more from Mr. McCraney.
The American people of today's Americas want a politician who can speak their language and speak it badly.
Then you wake up at the high school level and find out that the literacy level of our children are appalling.
Because if you could take care, if you were a quartermaster, you can sure and hell take care of running a department store thing, where in the second floor of the ladies department or whatever. You know what I mean?
Speak badly, huh?
We got an issue in America. Too many good docs are getting out of business. Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country.
That saves billions of gallons of gasoline. I mean, billions of
$2.3 billion worth of, $500 billion in savings and 2-point-something billion metric tons of CO2 going in the air.
I know this stuff seems kind of, random at times, but it's all part of the plan. It's part of the process.
I like to start the whole process by writing my ideas on index cards. Then I concentrate on pinpointing the best ones. And then finally I take those ideas and I sleep on them. Literally. When I wake up in the morning, I see what sticks, and bingo, I have a speech.
That actually explains a lot if you think about it.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
So imagine if you had to work something like roaches, corn pop, hairy legs, all into the same speech. What would that look like?
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And by the way, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
And then there is that familiar stuttering and stammering that W did so well.
I'm not going to be a mule. I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
That's where our
that turn
but yet this issue is one their opinions are
I find that the best speeches are the ones that come straight out of the mouth of a real American.
I'm working hard to putting food on my family.
Perfect.
and you're working hard to put food on your family.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Mr. President, wake up.
It's almost as if that aloof, slow, tired approach that George W. was known for is being cloned right before our eyes.
I said to him the other day, George, if you really want to end tyranny in the world, you're going to have to stay up later.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know.
And then you see these things that they do and that they say that almost looks like an intentional stacking of the odds against themselves in a way that causes us to want to root for the underdog.
A year ago, my approval rating was in the 30s. My nominee for the Supreme Court had just withdrawn, and my vice president had shot someone.
I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden.
See, Biden even claims that if he wins, he'll beat himself. So there's no way he can win. He has to lose, right?
My hope is that my work stands the test of time. That years from now, people will look back on President Bush and think, I have no friggin' idea what that guy was talking about.
Approaching 200,000, the president said, and I quote, he said, I won't quote him. The president said, if you take out the blue states,
we have to make sure that every single child does in fact have 3-, 4-, and 5-year-olds go to school, not daycare, school. We bring social workers into homes and parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help, they don't know quite what to do. Play the radio, make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone, make sure the kids hear words.
So at the moment, I am inclined to believe that that legacy that Mr. McCraney wanted to leave behind, and everything that the Bush administration kind of endowed upon the American people from the right, is going to now have a second wave, a resurgence from the left. So as far as I know, nobody has begun to connect these dots. I'm not aware of it. It just kind of came to me as I was listening to things last night. But I think Harlan McCraney is the connector guy. I think that as a presidential speechlist, he went from a presidential speechlist to a presidential candidate. And he's bringing all of his, know-how and his wisdom and his expertise and his experience from actually writing speeches during the George W. Bush administration, and he's pumping them into the campaign of Joe Biden. I don't know who on the Democratic side came up with this idea. I don't know how Mr. McCraney is flip-flopping from the right to the left so quickly. I mean, it's just a matter of, a decade or more. But something is going on here. I think this is the key. I think this is what we're seeing. Do you guys see the similarities? Do you think I could be onto something here? Have you seen anyone else bring this out already? And really, do you think it's fair to have somebody like this writing your speeches? I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying, wow, it sure looks like it. And he sure did claim to be the guy behind Bush's speeches. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I will be back to some more familiar Papa Pepper content in the future. But if you like this, if you got a kick out of it, if you think, wow, the stuff this guy thinks about late at night, that's pretty crazy up in your mind, feel free to give the video a like. Feel free to give a follow. This type of stuff pops out periodically. And if you got a kick out of this, please share this video. So with that, Papa out.